If everybody can see my screen, we're going to have Justin do a few-minute presentation on how to contact and convert leads. Part of this circle meeting is going to be drilling down on role playing, following up on leads, because we will be launching an official lead generation system on November 15th. Sheila and Malika, Gina, Justin, Mark, Dana, everybody's been working really hard on this, so it's going to be a lot of fun. So let me start off by sharing some statistics. So for the past year, Malika and I were on the phone the other day. For the past year, I've been telling everybody on this team that the team did $17 million in volume last year. Well, that was wrong, and I apologize. The team did 40 million, nearly $200,000 in volume last year. In 2023, the AMP team produced 40 million in round numbers, 200,000 in volume. That was based upon about 150 sales. So the reason I bring that up is because I'm going to ask a question. Somebody's got their, I can hear background noise for somebody. Sorry. Maybe on a phone. Might be Justin. And
I'm
so the
muted.
reason I bring that up is because this team is growing significantly. As new agents come on board, Red One recruits about, on average, 4 to 5 new agents per month. And it just so happens that AMP, over the last probably 10 months, has averaged 4 or 5 new team members in each of those 10 months. So we're growing alongside Red One. In 2024, if we annualize the number, because obviously it's mid-October, Malika puts this stuff together for me. Hi Sheila. She has the ability to go on to a platform that she and I share and gather statistics on transactions as well as volume for the team. So one more time, you getting on, Michelle?
I can't remember my password, and for some reason they're not saving like they should in Google.
Okay, sorry. Again, last year, 2023, 40,200,000 for the team. This year, in 2024, this team will produce $71,700,000 in sales volume. $71,700,000 in sales volume. So
great job, guys.
Yeah, it's outstanding. Congratulations to all of you. And so that dovetails with my next question. And I would love input from as many of you as are willing to share it. It is important for us to ask ourselves as marketers of real estate services and business owners. We ask ourselves this probably pretty often, especially after we get a client, buyer or seller through a particularly difficult transaction. Guys, there's breakfast up here. Tamami's here, Sheila's here, Michelle's here. So we ask ourselves, why am I in real estate? The question today is, and I want your brutal input. Why do the folks in the room and on the call think that the AMP leaders are in real estate? Emilio, we'll start with you. Unmute and tell me why you think we're in this game.
One, I feel like it's probably everyone's passion.
Say it again.
I feel like it's probably everyone's passion.
Okay, passion.
It's not just money. Otherwise, they'd be doing another profession. They truly love helping others. So.
All right, so I've got passion from Emilio. I'm writing this stuff down. Michelle, I'll leave you alone because you're busy. Nobody else. Khadija, why are the AMP leaders in this game? You're muted. All right, we'll go on to Henry. Henry, if you can hear me, why are the AMP leaders in this game?
In the real estate itself, I would say maybe money and freedom.
Okay. Dollars and freedom. All right, Chad, I'm gonna pick on you. Why are the AMP leaders in this game? Why do we run AMP? Why are we after this every day?
I'm going to say financial security for your family.
Financial security. So, Mommy, why do you think the AMP leaders are in this game? Why do you think there's 7 of us? Why do you think we do this? Have you ever thought about it? Maybe not. Okay. So Mommy says support, and that the AMP team members need us. That's a lovely word. Thank you. All right. Kelly, you're new. Why do you think the AMP leaders do this every day? Why are we in this game? You're muted, so.
I would say that it's rewarding, and to sort of build future maybe leaders or successful real estate agents, and just because it's, feels good to help other people.
Yes. Anybody else have an answer to why they think the AMP leaders do what we do every day?
Was this question specifically for the AMP or real estate in general?
It's directed at the people who are on this call and in this room, but you can answer it either way.
Okay. I mean, as far as the AMP, I really believe it's to help. There's no other place that I've heard of just doing anything like this without a huge cost.
Repeat that last part. No other place you've heard of is doing this without.
Yeah, no other real estate brokerage I've heard of has any teams that you don't have to pay a huge fee just to get someone to hold your hand for one deal.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got as answers passion, dollars, freedom, help. It's financial support. The agents need us. Welcome, Justin. Yes, thank you. Please eat. It's rewarding to us. We like building leaders and agents, and it feels good. Anybody else? All right, Dana, why do you do this? Never mind. Justin, why do you do this?
I do this because it's my passion, and I like to be in control of my own destiny as far as my job is concerned. I don't like working for the man, and it's fun.
Fun. Sheila, why do you do this? Yep.
So it's really about, people I love to see people grow. And I missed that when I left corporate, being part of a team and helping the team meet their goals. So being a part of that is huge to me.
Okay. Gina,
Yes.
why are you an AMP leader? Why is this something that you do every day? I mean, you and I probably talk nearly once a day,
Probably.
just like the other
You need
leaders
a lot
do.
of help.
Say it again.
Because you need a lot of help. That's why we talk a lot.
Yeah, that's right. You're exactly right. Thank you for disclosing that.
No, I mean, I got into real estate kind of on accident, but I was able to succeed because of hard work. And I really want to help other people be able to succeed. And I joined AMP because I saw a lot of agents even that I knew that I wasn't able to fully help because I have gaps in my own knowledge that the other AMP team leaders made up for. So as a group of leaders, we're so well-rounded and so knowledgeable that I feel like we have the ability to truly help anyone who wants to succeed in real estate.
I'm underlining anyone. Anybody else? Feedback on why they think the amp leaders do what they do? Somebody's in their car and their door's dinging, or they're low on gas, or they haven't put their seat buckle on. Thank you, whoever that was. Thank you. It could have been any one of those things. Our cars basically tell us to be careful constantly when we're in them. All right, can everybody still hear me now that particular one? It feels like I can't be heard anymore, but can everybody still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, great. Well, guys, we've got a lot of information here. Let me repeat something for those of you that have joined the call or walked into the room. Last year, this team did $40,200,000 worth of volume. This year, we will do 71 million. Let me get the right 71,700,000. And I've thought about those numbers for the last week since Malika shared them with me. And everything that you gave us as feedback as leaders, everything was on point. It is for all of those reasons. The passion that we have for real estate, our desire to assist others. Of course, we don't get into real estate to lose money. We get into it to make money. We love supporting people. One of the best pieces of the AMP circle that Gina worked so hard on is share your successes. I love that. Celebrate your wins. It is rewarding. We do want to build more leaders. There are dozens of AMP agents that I engage with weekly, and many, many of them have expressed an interest in taking their business to the next level and becoming a leader for this team. It does feel good. Justin is passionate. I speak to him also every day, and man, do we drill down on stuff, and to such an extent that both of us start laughing after a while. It is a blast to control your destiny. Now, again, we've got families, we've got our faiths, we've got our social lives, and many of us have work outside of real estate. And I get that. But it is a lot of fun to be able to control this part of your life. We are growing. It is a lot of help. And I think it was Gina who said, I don't know of any agent that would come into real estate that we couldn't assist. We can help everyone. Thank you, Dana. Whoever muted just now, that was helpful. Maybe it was Michelle.
No,
All right.
I'm good.
All right, good.
I even heard it feedback. I was like, oh no, where's my button?
All right.
I'm good.
So let me tell you where we're going. And many of you have already begun to experience this. In the one-on-one Zooms, you're going to be hearing it more and more on the Tuesday evening Zooms with the other leaders, the second and fourth Thursday, and now you're going to hear it again on Saturday. And this is going to be a mantra, guys, for the next 14 months. Comfort, confidence, curiosity, and the last one is accountability. This team has always taken the approach that you're self-employed. You're a subcontractor for Red One. And we've somewhat, for the first 2.5 to 3 years of this team's growth, have taken a bit of a hands-off approach to the accountability piece. That is going to change. We're going to begin holding each other more accountable for the goals that each of you individually set as your standards for coaching. Those of you that have Zoomed with me, you've all got 2 assignments. So we're going to announce it again today. Everybody on this team has 2 assignments. Get onboarded at Circle. Guys, everything is there. And we're adding more and more training documents, training videos, contractors that you can refer to your clients. We're answering questions on that platform. We're working hard to make it as many days during the week where we have live office hours where you can ring in and speak to a leader and get an answer to your question just like that. You all have our contact information in your phones. Somebody is not muted and they're moving around quite a bit. So, guys, the point is we're continuing to grow, and your businesses, based upon the stats that we're gathering, are growing right along with it. I think we're going to blow away the stats that I've been quoting. We'll regather those here at the end of the year, where the average AMP agent did 1.3 million. The average second year AMP agent grew that 1.3 by 153%. And then the average third year AMP agent grows that again by 43%. I think that's going to get blown away in 2024. I'm excited to share those stats with you by the end of the year. So we are in this for you. This is our total passion. I was on the phone with a new Red One agent who was considering joining a team. And I don't think that we're ever going to be able to change this, nor do I think any of the leaders want to. AMP is not listed on the Red One Resources webpage as a team. We're listed as a coaching platform. There is a significant difference. And Henry brought it up earlier. Said he's never experienced or spoken with teams from other brokerages, or frankly here at Red One, where your splits weren't significantly higher than they are here. That's purposeful. Michelle's shaking her head yes. She's experienced other brokerages. So it's great to get, and teams. So guys, this is a coaching platform. You're going to hear more about team and family as we grow. It's going to be critical. It is a lot of fun to scale this business, to scale our revenue share platform. And as we scale those, many of you have heard me talk about this. So I'm going to try to explain it, and then I'm going to turn this over to Justin. As you scale any business and more people are involved in that business, the Pareto theory starts to put pressure on that larger and larger company. Now, there is a difference. It applies to employees in companies. And the theory goes like this. If you've got 100 employees, take the square root of 100, which is 10. And those 10 produce most of the work and volume and have the most responsibility for all 100. That's not something that our leaders are going to allow to happen here. Each of you has been asked as a second step, other than to onboard at Circle, to provide this leadership group with your coaching standards. The document is on Circle. It's called the AMP Standards, your standards. And we are going to require that everybody go through and list out their standards so that we have a very focused, crystallized approach to how we coach you, how we train you. What you're passionate about becomes our passion. So it's 2 simple steps. There's 110 of us. All 110 should be on Circle. It's where you can get everything that you could possibly desire out of this platform from this team. And you're all going to be required to set your standards for coaching. Because on our one-on-one Zooms, that's all I want to focus on with you for the half hour we spend together, either every week or every other week. And across the board, the leaders of this platform are going to recognize those themes as we collate everyone's standards, where you talk about your level of confidence and comfort with Bold Trail, or social media, or geofarming, or open houses, or having conversations, or networking. And the list of tools goes on. And there are going to be those that you're more curious about. Let's define that. We're in business together, so we can speak to each other this way. If I'm curious about something, it means I have questions about it. Ask Gina. She will tell you. When I'm curious, I ask. And could that be defined as in business? It's defined, guys, and I'll talk about myself, as a weakness. So when I'm curious about something and I have questions, that's an area of weakness that I need to build upon, gain comfort and confidence there. And that works over time as we engage. When all of these agents present their standards, we will collate them and we will see themes that come out of those. We'll find out probably that either geofarming or open houses or conversations or Bold Trail or social media or any one of the number of 17 or 18 tools you have at your disposal, those are going to start to reveal themselves as weaknesses in our coaching platform. And then you're going to start hearing more and more about those on Thursdays, Tuesdays, and Saturdays. Why, you ask yourselves? Why is all of this effort being put into getting you onboarded at Circle, having you set the standards for your coaching? Because as I was mentioning earlier in the Pareto theory, when you've got 100 employees, 10% are doing most of the work. You can't run from that. As something gets larger, if those number of employees were 200, the answer would be 20. 20 of them are doing most of the work. We are not going to allow that to happen with you. You are individual business owners, and that's where the Pareto theory will fall apart on this coaching platform. Each of you has a vision for your business. And I speak to numbers of you every week. Many of you are very happy with and should be doing 4 or 5 transactions a year, or 2 or 3. That's wonderful. That's your vision. That's what this coaching platform will help you produce year in and year out, if that's your vision. Or it could be 8, or it could be 12, or it could be 20 plus. All of you will achieve your vision given the steps that we're coaching you on today and that we will be coaching you on for the next 14 months. We're not going to get off this horse for a while. Comfort, confidence, curiosity, and accountability. And guys, we didn't just throw this at you over the last 2 weeks. This is something that the leadership team has been talking about for months. 3 or 4 of us have been looking into other coaching platforms, seeing how things go with other coaches. I've talked to agents outside of this brokerage. I've talked to other agents in Red One. And of course, I've spoken to a bunch of you. This comes from a lot of data and statistics that will back up the approach that we're going to take over the next 14 months. I am lit up about it, if you can't tell. It's not just the coffee and Zen. This is a lot of fun. It says my internet connection is unstable. Hope it stays here. If you have questions about the direction we're going, if you ever have questions about why the leaders do this, just ask. We'll give you a very clear picture of where the AMP coaching platform is going. Now, Justin had to take a call, so I have to vamp for a couple more minutes. You have to deal with me. Sheila, you have anything?
No, I think that, everything that you're saying makes sense, especially the part where it falls apart because we're individual business owners.
Yes.
And so it's not 100 people on a team going towards one goal.
Yes.
We all have our own goals.
Yes.
That we're running towards.
Sheila really captured it way better than I did. She said where the Pareto theory definitely falls apart is this is not 100 people going towards one goal. This is 110 individual business owners attempting to achieve their own individual goals. That's where our head is. No matter the amount of volume that you have on your vision sheet that you put on your standards list, no matter the number of transactions, it's our responsibility to get you there. And in the end, guys, this is not altruistic purely. When we get together as leaders, we don't want to feel guilty about someone not achieving their vision. I admit that freely. If somebody isn't getting there at the speed with which they are engaged, we feel badly, and that's going to stop. We're going to hold each other accountable. and you guys are going to have the real estate business that you dreamed of and that you envisioned when you first walked through the doors of Hondros. That I can promise you, or Capital University, or wherever you went. So back to the screen. Any other feedback or questions on that? Okay, I wore you out enough. Guys, you're looking at a spreadsheet that Sheila and Malika came up with. We are launching.
Except for we're not.
Except for we're not. Oh, you're not. Well, you should be. This is on Circle. This should be fine.
It's not. It's the cord, I think.
Okay. So I'm getting teased again that my laptop stinks. And it probably does. It's a Lenovo. It's lovely, but it's like, I don't know, 15 years old. So it's an opportunity. There you go. So guys, we're going to launch a lead generation system. Why? Well, the focus of this platform is to take decades and decades old concepts and insist that you apply them to your real estate business because they work. So I'll try to draw an analogy here, and then I really will shut up and let Justin take over. You know, on our way to our jobs outside of real estate, or on our way to a gathering or church or a party or wherever, we're driving our cars by stores like Walmart and Target and Meijer and Kroger, you name it, the Panera, Starbucks, every day. Every day you drive by that brick and mortar store. So you can't help but see it. And if you drive the same way to work and back from work, you see it twice a day. Well, that is a wonderful way of explaining back-end marketing. How can you possibly forget about something you drive by every day? And on occasion, it strikes you that you actually need milk or eggs or something else that one of those entities offers. And sure enough, you just turn the wheel, go into the parking lot, get what you want, come back out and head home, right? That's what happens to all of us. I can't count the number of times when I'm on my way home from this office. I'm sure Justin experiences it. It's not a misogynistic statement where our wives or significant others will text us on our way to the home office and say, can you stop so-and-so and get so-and-so? Yep, sure will. I'm sure it happens to Sheila because she's also outside her office, and her husband probably does the same thing. Guys, that's back-end marketing at its finest. You can't forget about them because they're sitting there, right? It's a brick and mortar store. Amazon does it online by shooting ads at us constantly. Well, let's flip that on its head. Get this in your brain. It's our responsibility as real estate business owners who market real estate services to keep ourselves at top of mind and top of consciousness for the largest number of people that are in your lives. And you're constantly adding to that group of people. You're transitioning folks you meet into your sphere by connecting with them in all the manners that we coach you on. So what you need to envision in your head as people are driving around in their cars, it's our responsibility to get them to turn the wheel towards us. I just described to you a timing thing with all those brick and mortar stores, didn't I? It was just the right time for you to go in and get milk. It was just timing. You don't go to the grocery store every day. You just go when you need to. That's how that timing works. I need food. Well, better go to the store. I need to get my car worked on. Better pull into my mechanic. I need to get my teeth done. I better go to my dentist. Guys, just flip that on its head. You market real estate services. We have to get folks to drive their cars to us and be top of mind and top of consciousness for when the time is right in their lives for them to enter into a real estate transaction. It's the part you can't control. No more than Kroger or Meijer can control when you pull into their parking lot. All they can do is try to stay in top of mind with you by giving you gas points and sending you coupons in the mail and having that building there every day that reminds you. The timing in people's lives when they enter into a real estate transaction is not controllable by us as business owners. It isn't. So we work on Sphere, which brings us to lead generation. In speaking with agents across the board, other brokerages, Inside Red One, all of you on AMP, having a source of folks who are curated at a time in their lives when they want to move, but reaching out to them and putting an advertisement in front of them is pure lead generation. So we're going to leap back into that pool, that warm water, on November 15th. It's going to be offered to all of you. And you recall earlier how we talked about comfort, confidence, curiosity, and accountability. This is a program that has been tested, beta tested, for the last 2 years by Sheila Howe and the last 4 or 5 by Justin Humphreys. It's kind of, I would call it an amalgamation of both of those platforms, both of those programs. So these are curated leads, slightly more comfortable than anything that Zillow or Realtor.com or Homes.com would probably put in front of you. And we will gather them to us, distribute them to any agents who wish to participate, and then hold you accountable for helping those folks buy or sell a home. I don't know how long this will go on, because as with any business, it's going to depend upon our ROI, return on investment. The reason why I started out by sharing with you the volume that this team is producing in 2024 is to let you know the high level of confidence that this leadership team has in the agents who are going to choose to participate in this lead generation system. We are producing a significant amount of volume. This is just going to be another opportunity for us to ratchet that up. Now, as the founder of this platform, am I worried? If I didn't tell you that I wasn't, I would be lying. I don't know if you know what I'm worried about. It's not the investment. It's that we are so hyper-focused on being top of mind and top of consciousness. It is going to be critical for those team members who participate in this lead generation system to be able to dovetail that with your work with Sphere. And the best person to talk about that is about ready to come up here and talk to you. And it's Justin Humphreys. So without further ado, we're going to have Justin come up and give you as long a presentation as he chooses to. So please welcome Justin Humphreys with Humphreys Homes.
Thanks, Mark.
You're welcome. Oh, by the way, I asked him to do this yesterday.
Yeah, that's why I don't have any graphics prepared, but I always love talking to you guys, so we're just gonna go for it. What are these notes here? Justin, passion, control, destiny, fun.
I made those earlier when I was getting feedback.
That's my next tattoo. Passion, control, destiny, fun.
I love it. Where's it gonna go?
Probably tramp stamp.
Yeah, love that.
Either that or right across the chest.
There you go. Perfect. Now, I've been told that I talk a little bit too loud when I coach, so I'm going to continue to do that today so that Michelle can eat her bagel because they're a little bit crunchy. She's trying to do it really quietly. It's not working out, so I'm going to talk as loud as I can so she can get some breakfast in. I tried to take a bite of one and my tooth broke, but they're still very delicious, Mark. Thank you for bringing those in.
Thank you, Carly.
Thank you, Carly, if you watch this. Sheila ran out of the room. I wonder, any other leaders on the call, do we know when these leads come in, what information are we going to have about the leads? Anybody other than Sheila know that information? Gina, Dana, anybody? No? Okay, we'll wait until she comes back in to discuss that.
Well, what's the question? Say the question again. Like,
The question is, when these leads are distributed to members of the AMP team, what information is going to be available to us about the lead? Are we going to know whether they're seller or buyer motivated? Are we going to know?
Well, they should be a buyer, possibly having a house to sell, but we also are usually given the property information as well.
Okay, Sheila's back. Let's ask Sheila. When these leads come in, Sheila, and they are distributed to members of the AMP team, what information is going to be available about that lead? What qualifying questions will they have asked at that point?
So we can set it up different ways, but my approach is typically their name, first and last name, phone number, email, and ask them if they're looking to buy, sell, or build.
Buy, sell, or build.
And then the time frame, and I put it in 6-month increments.
Okay, great. So we're going to know their name, their phone number, their email, whether they're interested to buy, sell, or build, and then we're going to know what their time frame looks like. So when it comes to lead generation, this is my personal philosophy on it. It's pretty simple when it comes down to it. We are looking to do one thing, and that is get them in front of us, either in a Zoom, in the office, or at a coffee shop for a consultation. So when these leads come in, we are either turning them into a consultation or we are turning them into a nurture, which will eventually lead to a consultation if we do that correctly. So those are my two goals with any lead that I have. The statistics say that about 70% of your leads will work with the first real estate agent that they have an interaction with, whether that's a showing, with like a realtor or a Zillow.com lead, that would be a showing. With a nurtured lead like this, that would be a consultation. So our goal is to get in front of them as quickly as possible. And again, that's either via Zoom, via coffee shop, or via consultation here at the office, or if you have an office outside of the Westerville office. So that's really our goal. And my philosophy has always been to reach out to those people as quickly as possible with a phone call to start with. So I just had a lead come in, and his name's Mark D'Andrea, and we got his phone number and his email, and he said that he's interested to buy his first home. So I'm going to call Mark D'Andrea right now. Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Mark, this is Justin Humphreys with Red One Realty. How you doing today?
I'm fine, Justin. How are you?
Great. Thank you for asking. I am reaching out because I got your information from our Facebook profile, and it indicated that you were interested to purchase your first home. Is that correct?
It is.
Awesome. Well, I've got some information here. It looks like you're looking to do that within the next 6 months. Are you curious about the process? If you had any experience, have you heard anything about how the process typically goes?
My wife and I have been living in an apartment for the last 2 years. It's time for us to move. We checked with online to get pre-qualified, and so we've started that process, but we're not clear on where to go next.
Okay, that's great. So it sounds like you've spoken with a lender a little bit, maybe had a couple conversations about your pre-approval, and that's a really good first step, because not a lot of people start with that, and that's really an important piece of this. So what I would like to do is, if you are open to it, I would like to set up a time where we can sit you down at the office for a consultation and talk through this process from start to finish, so that you know what to expect around every step, around the corner and around every step of the buying process. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in?
Where's your office located?
So I have an office in Westerville. It's really easy to access. It's right off of the Route 3 exit off of 270 in Westerville, kind of the Huber Village area. But if that's inconvenient for you, depending on where you're located, we could always meet at a local coffee shop, or we could even do this via Zoom virtually if you'd like to do it that way as well.
We live in Canal Winchester, so I'd rather it be someplace down here.
Okay, great. Well, I just looked at my map, and it looks like there's a Starbucks right there in Canal Winchester on 123 Main Street. Would that be a convenient, comfortable place for us to meet?
My wife and I go there all the time.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking at my schedule right now. It looks like I've got pretty open availability over the next 2 or 3 days. Would Friday at 12 p.m. work for you guys?
We've got plans on Friday.
Okay. What would be a better time?
Weekends are best for us.
Okay. What about a Saturday at 12:30? How would that work?
The Buckeyes play this weekend.
Oh, you're right. I forgot all about that. I'm really upset about the game last week. I'm hoping they turn it around. Why don't we shoot for 4 p.m.? The game should be over by that time.
That'll work.
Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and put you in my calendar now. I'm going to send you a calendar invite. I'm also going to follow up with you via text message, and I look forward to seeing you guys. Coffee's on me, and it should only take about an hour. I've got a really, really pleasant slideshow presentation that we're going to walk through, and we're just going to get to know each other a little bit better to see if we're a good fit, and I'll answer any questions you have. I'd love to give you some insight on, I know you've had a couple conversations with a lender, but I work with a lot of great preferred lenders. I'd like to get you in touch with them if you're open to it, and just educate you and teach you about the process, and then we can go from there. Does that sound okay?
That sounds great, Justin. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mark. I look forward to meeting you and your wife at 4 p.m. on Saturday in Canal Winchester at the Starbucks. I'll see you there.
Looking forward to it. Thanks.
Okay. That's like a perfect scenario.
I can give you a hard time.
Mark took it easy on me, but really that's kind of the format for how those calls would go. I used to rely heavily on Realtor and Zillow.com leads, and it was really, for me, the keys were just the speed of getting to that person, because with those leads, it was a little bit more of a race because they're shared with other agents. So I got in the habit of calling them within making sure I was on the phone with them really within about 2.5 minutes of getting that lead. I would like to be on the phone with them and already starting that process. But let's say those leads were not open to coming in for a consultation immediately, whether it's their apprehensiveness,
We can go there.
okay. Okay, I'm going to call Mark again. Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, is this Mark?
It is.
Hey, Mark.
Yes.
Hey, Mark, this is Justin Humphreys with Red One Realty. How are you today?
I'm wonderful, Justin. I get these phone calls all the time, and it's really bothering me.
Well, I apologize about that. The reason that I'm calling, Mark, is because you filled out one of our forms on Facebook indicating that you were interested to purchase a property. Is that still the case?
Yeah, but I don't know when, and I'm not sure if it's something that we're serious about right now. So
Okay, I totally understand that. Well, you know what I'd like to do? I would like to at least get you into my database so that I can follow up with you, and maybe at a time that's better and you're feeling more comfortable and confident, we can meet in person or have a virtual Zoom to discuss this buying process a little bit further.
that's fine. I just really don't have a lot of time to talk about it right now.
Okay. Well, I understand. I want to be respectful of your schedule. So what I'm going to do is I already have your information. I'm going to plug you into my system. I'm going to follow up with you in about 48 hours or 3 days or so and see if that's a better time to chat, because I'd really love to talk to you about your home buying process and how I can help make that happen.
That's fine. I'm just not sure when we're going to do this, but that's fine.
Okay. Totally. No pressure from me. I'm always just here to be of assistance, and that's my main goal. So I'm going to go ahead and get you plugged into the system here. I'll talk to you in just a few days and see how you're doing, and we'll go from there. Does that sound okay?
That's fine.
Okay. Have a great day, Mark.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
One thing I would add to that, I would ask them, say, hey, I'd love to sit you up with like a market report. What, I can do it for various suburbs or what have you. Is there one that's of interest?
Okay, great. So Sheila mentioned asking some additional qualifying questions, during that phone call when you've got somebody who's not super interested to discuss that a little bit further with you, which I think the more information you can get from those people, the better. Again, my philosophy is turn them into a consultation or turn them into a nurture, and then that nurture eventually will become a consultation. Because like I said, people are more inclined to work with the first realtor that they come in contact with. So the other part of this is making sure that when you achieve that consultation is making sure that your presentation is on point. So how many people on the call have a buyer's presentation that they currently use, and a buyer's consultation, a slideshow, whether it's from Etsy or Canva or the Red One templated? Does everybody have one? Can you guys kind of just chime in here, unmute yourself, or raise your hand?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so let's make a note of this. Michelle needs hers.
My technical is.
That's okay.
Well, I'm supposed to be helping Michelle. I'll get to you, Michelle. Sorry.
I'm going to go around the room here. Alma, when you meet with buyers, do you have a presentation that you use? Yes. Okay, great. And what's your method? Is it like a slideshow? Are you using the Red One or?
Oh, no, Etsy.
You had yours on Etsy? Okay, so Alma got hers from Etsy. Sheila, what about you? You had yours done as well? Did you use a certain service or?
I sent it over to a graphic designer to do it.
Okay.
And so it's just in Canva.
Okay, so hers is in Canva. Alma's was from Etsy. Sheila's is from Canva. How about Tamami? What about you? Do you have a buyer's presentation that you use currently? No. Okay, and we can help you with that. I'm going to just make notes here. What about you, Michelle? Michelle needs one.
Yeah, Michelle has her, and what I had is me, and then I've still got part of Ken on it, and yeah.
Okay, we can figure that out for you. Mark, how do you typically do yours when you've got a buyer who's interested to purchase? I know Mark doesn't rely a lot on the technology as much as some of us might do because he is so natural and very gifted at talking through this in person. No.
Guys, when I definitely fit into Justin's template as it relates to picturing your business like a funnel. So you have all of these folks that you're either are in your sphere, or in this case, you have these leads. And you're going to be given a spreadsheet to track this stuff. It's critical that you recognize once you've spoken to them to get them to a buyer consultation or a listing consultation, depending, these are buyers, Sheila, mostly. Okay. Get them to a buyer consultation as quickly as possible. What I bring with me to a buyer consultation is my laptop, my phone, my business cards, and yes, a manila folder. That's what I take with me.
I guess my question is, you don't use a visual aid during that, do you?
No, I go by the buyer conversation we trade on.
Okay.
Everybody should be taken through that buyer conversation, and you can dovetail that with the Etsy presentation, the one you're going to build, the one that Tamami's building, the Canva one. You can dovetail those two things nicely. The best marriage is a buyer consultation that raises your expertise and experience in the eyes of the person you're meeting, because you're meeting them for the first time, and having a professional presentation along with, we'll call it a script to go through, where you talk about family, you talk about the consumer guide, you talk about pre-qualification, you talk about their vision, and then 2 tracks that should all sound familiar to all of you. Those 2 things dovetail nicely, and a buyer conversation along with your professional presentation gives you the next steps to where you're going to go with this buyer every time. It tells them what they should be doing, it lets them know what you're going to be doing, and it will bring people down through your funnel, guys, much, much faster.
Do we have that scripted anywhere?
Yeah,
currently?
It's on Circle.
Okay, great.
Under buyer and seller conversation.
Awesome. Henry, what about you? Do you have a buyer's presentation that you use when you have potential buyer clients?
No, I do not.
Okay, Henry, we need to get you one. What about Kelly? Do you have one?
So I had just made some edits to the one that was on the Red One resources site, but I mean, if there's something better than that, I'm certainly open to.
That's the one I use too, so that's perfectly fine. It's whatever you're comfortable with. I just want to make sure that we're all using some type of it. Gina,
Yes.
you're a veteran in this business. How do you typically handle your buyer consultations when those occur?
I have a PowerPoint program. It's something I developed over the years and just modify as needed. So I usually take my laptop or an iPad and open that up and scroll through it on there. If sometimes it depends on the situation and you kind of have to feel out your clients. Some people are kind of don't like technology as much. So I have been known to print that out and put it into a binder so I can leave it behind for them in the case of like older folks or maybe folks who are not first language English, so that they can take time and look at it and ask questions. But then I'll just sit there and flip through it page by page and talk about the high points.
That's a great point. I really like that a lot. That's something that I'm going to start doing, is taking a printed version of mine as well. Okay. Thank you, Gina. Khadijah, do you currently use a buyer presentation, whether that's laptop form or paper printout?
I do. I actually, every time I meet with new leads, I bring it with me. I have, I think it's like 40 pages. Um, and it's like in a plastic folder so they can see it and they love it.
Awesome. So yours is essentially a paper version as well.
It is a paper version. I
Is
take
that
edits.
is that the same one you gave your home buyer
It
seminar
is.
with?
Yes,
And did
but
you
that's the home buyer one is a little shorter than the actual one that I give.
and you had
I
that made for you on Etsy, or you created that on Canva, or how did you come across that?
Etsy, and
Etsy.
then it takes you to Canva to edit it out.
Great. Dana, how about you?
I have a printed copy, but I take my laptop, and if they want a copy, I have one to give to them. Some people don't want
How
it,
did
or
you
if they
how
just
did
want
you
to email.
curate yours?
I started it in Etsy, and then, of course, like everyone says, go to Canva and then make the edits too.
Awesome. Melinda, do you currently use a buyer presentation?
I use the one that is on the Red One website, and then I prefer to meet in person.
Yeah.
That way, it's just more personable, and I have my laptop, email, everything I need right there. Any questions they might have, I have access to everything too. So I use the Red One.
Awesome. How about Emilio? Emilio, do you currently use a buyer presentation?
No, I don't.
Okay. We are going to get you hooked up with this. Bear with me, guys. I'm just getting through this here so we can identify anybody that might need these. Chad, do you currently use a buyer presentation?
No, I do not.
Okay. And Mr. Tilley, do you currently use a buyer presentation?
No, but I've seen Dana do it.
All righty.
Steal Dana's.
Dana's laughing at you, Rich. Mr. Mark Hutchinson, do you use a buyer presentation when you meet with potential buyers?
I try to tailor my presentation to my knowledge of the client. Like a lot of people, I will print out everything I need, but I also take my computer and try to do everything electronic. If it's not a person to person, I upload everything in the dot loops. I send them all the documents a couple hours in advance of our meeting so that they can pull it up on their computer, have a chance to look at it before we start.
Okay, great. Sandy, do you currently use a buyer presentation? Okay, Sandy, if you catch up with us, let us know. Sheila, I would love to hear about yours, since this is your really a part of your brainchild with this forums. How do you like to convert these buyers when you have them in front of you? Do you use a presentation?
So normally what I do is I reach out, I will send a text if they're, for me, that works. So then, depending upon their interaction, if they're not like really like open to talking, then I offer to send them my buyer's guide, and I tell them that, it's something that a lot of my buyers find really helpful. There's helpful tips and tricks in there. So my presentation has additional information about the buying process, whereas a lot of the buyer presentations are about the person, the agent.
Yes.
So I have added stuff into mine to where it's more of an asset or a tool for my buyers. So I send that off to them, and I ask them if they would like a market report. And again, I say, here's why you might like it. And if they don't respond, I set them up for that anyway and watch if they open and engage with it. And then I will follow up and say, hey, did you see anything on this particular one if they opened it? And if they're not opening it, I go back to them and say, hey, you're not opening this. Is there a different area that you would like to see? If this isn't helpful, is there another area that you'd like?
Yeah. So Sheila, if anybody had trouble hearing her on the call, she nurtures, sends a market report. What about physically getting in front of that person?
So typically, when I get in front of them, we're showing homes.
Okay.
I try to have them sign the agreement before I ever show up.
Okay.
And if they don't show up, I bring it with me, of course. And I tell them ahead of time that they're signing it because
It's the law.
exactly, that's what you have to do. And at that point, because I've sent them my buyer's guide, I don't go through it.
Okay.
Because I've sent it, I do have a hard copy with me in
Yeah.
case they want to, but typically at that point, we're just going.
Yeah.
So I don't nurture as much as I could.
Okay. So Sheila, her process is more sending that let's not call it a presentation. Let's call it a buying guide via text message during the nurturing process, so that when the time comes that they meet to show a house, they're already kind of halfway down that road. Whichever way is best for you to get in front of that person, whether that is immediately to jump into a showing, or if you feel more comfortable doing a consultation first, the goal is to get in front of them. Because like I said, about 70 to 75% of these people are going to work with the first real estate agent that they come in contact with or have a good substantive meeting with. So again, just to recap my process, I always had Dana, you're unmuted and echoing a little bit. There you go. Thanks, Dana. My process has always been to reach out as quickly as possible, try to set up that meeting. If there's now on these forms that we're going to be doing, there's not going to be a specific property in mind that they're interested in, right? It's just whether generally they're ready to buy. So whether that's getting them into a consultation or meeting them at a property for the first time, that's really the goal. And if that doesn't happen, then they're turning into a nurture, which Sheila just gave a really good kind of guideline on how she likes to nurture them. She sends them a market report. If they're not responsive to that, she follows up and asks, hey, I noticed you didn't open the market report. Is there another area you might be interested in? So that's kind of a version of what I got introduced to as like the 10 days of pain is what realtors used to call it back when I was getting a lot of realtor and Zillow.com leads. It's just like a week and a half of really just following up with them consistently through different bases. The first couple might be phone calls with voicemails. The next one after that on day 2 or day 3 might be a phone call with no voicemail. Day 4 might look like a couple text messages. Day 5 might look like an email to their email address. Just trying to qualify them to either get in or get into some sort of nurturing pattern. So whatever way that is to get in front of those people, that's my advice for lead generation, how to turn those and convert those leads is consultation or nurture, and the nurture turns into a consultation or a showing. A showing could also be considered a version of that consultation as well, because the showing, they're going to ask questions, you're going to answer questions about the process while you're showing them the house. They're going to get a feel for your process and your knowledge and hopefully gain some rapport and some confidence with you. Mark Hutchinson has a question. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, do you by chance send a text message to the client so that so you tell them who you are and so they can recognize the telephone number when you call them? I've heard some people say they've had success. Other people say, no, it's not a good thing. So I didn't know what the experts think about that.
I'd love to hear other leaders' perspectives on that. Mine was always to call them immediately. And the reason I like to do that is because it kind of, I know it sounds weird, but it kind of catches them off guard a little bit. I feel like if I were to send a text message and say, hey, this is Justin with Red One Realty, some kind of spiel there, that might give them an out to say, hey, I'm just kind of curious about this. I don't know if I'm ready to do this, or I kind of would like to get them on the phone personally. That's my personal process. Does anybody else have different opinions on that, or whether they send a qualifying text first or not?
I text just because it's my personality. But I love what's coming out of this is that we take our own process and morph it to our own, and we figure out what works for our own personality.
Yeah, absolutely.
But ultimately, it is you gotta get them.
Yeah. So Sheila said that her process that works best with her because of how it adapts and correlates with her personality is that she does do the text message. She text messages. What would that text message look like? What would be an example of that?
I usually just say, hey, this is Sheila Howell with Red One Realty. I got your information from Facebook. I see that you're looking at whatever the ad had to do with.
Yeah.
And that you're looking to buy, sell, whatever, within this period of time. Would you like to hop on a quick call?
Yeah.
And usually, well, it just depends. But, and then I pivot from there.
That's exactly how my phone call goes. And whatever we have to do to get that information from them. So what Sheila said is she texts and says, hey, I saw you were interested in purchasing in the next X amount of time in this area. Would you like to hop on a call? So that is a good way, an effective way to gauge their interest and try to make that first point of substantive contact. Gina, I see you have your hand raised. What's your process? You prefer call, text, email? What's your when you get a lead like that, what's your follow-up method or first point of contact?
I'll try to call first, but if they don't respond to a call, then I'm trying texting. And if they don't respond to that, then email. I just cycle through it and until I get a hold of them or I die. I mean, I think that's probably the next big thing we need to address is, you know, you're talking about a perfect scenario here. Mark answered the phone when you called on your first attempt. But I'm going to be honest with people and say that probably 50 to 75% of people are not going to respond on that first attempt. So if you only make one attempt, you're done. That's not going to get it done with these leads. You are going to have to make multiple attempts to reach them over a long period of time. Justin, do we have a standard in mind for that? Is it like 12 touches in 5 days, or is it, what is our standard going to be?
Well, when I got that 10 days of pain thing was how I was taught, and I think it's a little bit overkill. I think it really can turn people off if you're too diligent about it. So what I like to do is call the first day or two, maybe the first 2 phone calls, there's a voicemail attached, the third one on the second day, maybe you don't leave a voicemail there, follow up with a text, maybe text the second or the third and fourth day, 5th day, maybe follow up with a couple emails. If there's nothing by that point, me personally, that lead is probably going to go into a CRM on a drip campaign where it's going to follow up with them automatically from that point. I may end up making a note where I'm going to restart, that 4 or 5 days of pain, whatever it is in a couple days. But if I get nothing from them, they're probably going to end up going on a drip campaign for me and my CRM after 6 or 7 days. Now, I don't know how everybody else feels about that. Mark, I see you have your hand raised again, or was that from before?
No, the reason I do the text is like people like my wife, she doesn't recognize the number, she will not pick up. So I just want them to know my name, the telephone number, and to expect a call from me in the next 5 minutes.
Okay, I like that. Dana, did you have something?
No, when I was doing the leads, I would just try to take the call right away. But like Gina said, the average is like 50% don't even answer the phone. And they might say, oh, I accidentally hit the button, I'm not really interested. But you just got to keep following up with them. But real quick, I'm going to circle back around with the buyer guide. As part of my open house toolkit, I have those with me as well, printed copies in case someone comes to an open house and they're buying. I'll give those to you then at that point too. So
I like that.
Back.
So one of the things that Bob Petty trains on is you call right away and hang up, and then you call back. And then if they don't answer, leave a message.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Call right away, hang up, and then call back and leave a message. Okay.
Did he say why?
Yes,
He didn't, I
Because
don't remember why.
because the person that you're contacting, it raises their level of curiosity about who this is. Great. That's very smart.
Okay. Yeah.
Very
Well,
smart.
I knew there had to be something behind it.
Yes,
Okay.
their curiosity is now piqued. So when they see that number again, chances of them picking up go up exponentially.
For those of you that might not be able to hear, what's being discussed in the room is Bob Petty's method for this follow-up on leads is he'll call, or as soon as he gets the contact information, he'll hang up before they answer, then he'll call back again and leave a voicemail. Mark D'Andrea here in the room feels that piques people's interest. Mark says that that's a statistic that it piques their interest and gets them curious about who's calling. My experience, I always had good, now maybe it was because it was Realtor or Zillow.com leads and they had just recently clicked on a property in less than a minute before I called them. So I always had a lot of luck with people answering the phone. The faster I responded to the lead, I felt like the better chance I had of them picking up the phone. That's why I literally would train myself. I don't use it anymore, but I got an Apple Watch so that the second I saw the lead come in, I could pull my phone up, I could have the MLS open, and I could call that person and talk intelligently about the property they were interested in.
That's methodology. Put a method in place that works for you quickly.
Yes. Now that is not going to apply so much to these leads because we don't have a specific property in mind. We've just got generally knowing whether they're looking to buy, sell, or build. But that's still good information that's going to help us tailor our conversation when we get in contact with them. So I still strongly encourage the phone call immediately, as quickly as possible, because I always had good luck with people picking up the phone on that. But if that doesn't align with how you've had success in the past, or your personality maybe, or how quickly or confidently you can engage in a conversation with them, you could text message, you could email. We'll as a leadership team, we will drill down on this further and maybe look at some more statistics to see what the best route for that is. But I think it's going to come down to what works for you personally, what your personality type is, how confident you are on the phone, how and that's going to get better as time goes on as you talk to these leads. But it's something that we're all going to be working on as a group together. So Mark is asking Sheila what her ROI is on this particular method that she uses, and we'll wait for her to provide that info. In the meantime, we've identified at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people here on the call that need some sort of form of a buyer's presentation, whether that be the red one or something off Etsy or something off Canva that's already a template there. For me, I'm good at talking, but I find that my process is for a consultation. Let's talk about that. Let's jump into that really quickly. Mark, do I still have time? Okay. To discuss, and Sheila, you go ahead and interrupt me when you're ready, but my process is I bring people into the office. Here on the first floor, there's a really great consultation room right behind us here, a conference room, closing room, whatever you want to call it. I will hook my laptop up to the TV there. Once I've got it, obviously I've made contact with them. I've set the appointment. I will hook my TV up or my laptop up to the TV in there. I have my buyer's presentation on slideshow mode ready to go. In front of I'll sit at this end of the table here. I'll have 2 waters or a water, depending on if it's a couple or a single person coming in. I'll have a water on the table. I'll have a pen and paper there if they want to make notes or ask questions during the presentation. And my presentation is not so much click here, look at this screen, I'm going to read from the screen. I do that in a little bit, but I'm very loose with it, and I make it a point to make it more of a conversation than a presentation. I'm asking qualifying questions to them. Are you currently in a lease? What's that time frame looking like? Have you spoken when we come to the lender part of the presentation? Have you spoken with a lender? Oh, you haven't? Well, I have a few great ones that I work with. I'd be happy to get you in contact with them even here during this appointment if you'd like. And then I tell stories, when we come to the time to talk about making offers, I tell pointed stories about that, inspection, pointed stories about that, just to develop rapport. I make it a point to stop and ask them if they have any questions every 2 or 3 slides to make sure I'm keeping up with that. So by the end of that, I should have all the information I need to get them pre-qualified, get their MLS search set up, answer any of the questions they might have, kind of set a next best step or a next step for when we're going to get out there and start looking at homes. So that's personally why I really like the consultation route, because it helps us develop a rapport. It helps me educate them if they're curious about different things of the process. It helps us qualify the areas that they're looking for, what their ideal price range is, what their ideal monthly payment amount might be. It helps me get them in contact with a lender, because I can call a lender on the phone and literally start that conversation with 3 of us there at the table. If it's a Kyle Dines or somebody that'll answer the phone on evenings and weekends or something like that. So that's why I really enjoy that.
So for every $1, you get about $3 back.
So Sheila says her ROI for every $1, you get about $3 back. Okay. Do we know why Mark was asking, or?
No.
Okay. We'll find out when he comes back in. So yeah, that's my process, guys. It's pretty simple. I make contact as quickly as possible, and I push to set up that consultation or that showing or whatever is going to get me in front of that person. Maybe the buyer, the reason they're filling out this form is because they saw a property and they have a property in mind already. And that's a great opportunity to get them out in front of that property and show them that property, get a buyer's agreement signed, a consumer guide signed, and develop that rapport and start that relationship. But
it's been my experience with them. They're very, very early in the process.
yeah, so Sheila says most of the people filling out these forms are very early in the process, so they likely don't have a lender at that time. They likely are not pre-qualified. They likely don't know about the MLS or what goes into setting up their search or what goes into making offers. And that's the opportunity you have to set up that consultation and educate them, however that process looks like for you. But it's really simple, guys. Consultation, nurture. If it's a nurture, the goal is to turn that into a consultation / showing to get in front of them. So,
and the good thing is it's easy to look like the expert.
Yeah.
Because they are so new to the process.
Yeah, and nowadays as realtors, we have so much information in front of us that we can provide to them. You know, I can pull up the MLS and talk intelligently about any property, whether I've seen it in person or not. I can pull up details about it. I can pull up the history. I know when it's built. I know what updates have been done to it likely. So it's easy for new buyers, first-time home buyers. It's easy for us to present ourselves as the expert because they're essentially clueless in the process. And it's a big part of what I like doing is educating them. And I make an emphasis on that. I tell people I work a lot with first-time home buyers. It's one of my specialties is educating first-time home buyers on the process. And this is another spiel that I give as well, whether it's on the phone or in that consultation. Listen, there's no obligation to this. There's no pressure from me. I just want to educate you and help you feel more confident about the buying process. If you walk out of this office and decide that you're not ready to buy this year or within the next 6 months or in the next 2 years, at least we've got a chance to meet and you've got a chance to learn about how to purchase a home and what goes into it and what to expect around every corner. And you're not going to be shocked or worried or have anything unexpected happen because we will have talked through that. And then I'm going to follow up with you and I'm going to keep reaching out to you. I'm going to send you my monthly newsletter, and there's no pressure. There's no hard feelings if you walk out of this office today and decide you don't want to buy. But if it's something that you're interested in and you're qualified for, we're going to get that going. If not, we're going to stay in contact, and it's great to have met you. And I'm glad we were able to meet, and hopefully you walked away with this with some more knowledge and feel a little bit more comfortable about the process. So I like to touch on that as well, just to let them know. It kind of takes the pressure off them. I don't want them to expect that they have to give me something or pay me something or anything for that consultation. I kind of try to take the pressure off it in that way as well. So that's kind of my process. I try to keep it simple, follow up as quickly as possible, try to keep following up for an additional 5 or 6 days with nurturing them on like a really intense level. And then after about a week, I'll probably throw them onto a drip campaign, whether that's one that I've created through Bold Trail or one of the pre-existing ones in Bold Trail. It's very, very easy to do that. The other leaders, Gina, Dana, Sheila, do you feel like that is an adequate measure of follow-up for these leads? Or do you think that there needs to be something additional past that 6 or 7 days of really intense follow-up? Mark, Gina, Dana, anybody, Sheila?
I got, once a month, until you're sure, until like they completely ghost you, I like to go and look to see if they're opening the market report.
Mm-hmm.
I have set up a property alert, and then just use that as a reason to reach out.
Yeah.
And then, if they don't respond, they don't respond.
Or if they opt out or something.
Yeah.
So in addition to what I mentioned, Sheila said she'll do an additional kind of heavy touch once a month past that point, just to try to requalify them or disqualify them if they're not interested.
Only thing I really liked your circle back where, so you try for 6 or 7 days, then you put them on a drip for a couple of weeks, and then maybe take a 1 or 2 day, revamp them, bring them back up to the top, try to hit them hard again for a couple of days, and then put them back on the drip if they don't respond. That way you've really given it a great effort to try to contact these people.
Can you guys see my screen?
Not yet.
You need to share that tab. So share and then click Chrome tab, upper left.
Entire screen. I got you right here.
There we go.
All right, just for shits and giggles, I want to see what our robotic overlords have to say about this. Well, I got to type it in first. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay. Let's say, what is the best method for engaging with online real estate leads? All right. So ChatGPT says provide value, follow up immediately, implement a structured follow-up system, ask questions. This is all stuff we already know. Just looking to see if there's any good nuggets here. Leverage technology. We talked about that. Showcase success stories. We talked about that. Create engaging content. That would be your presentation if you use one. Be authentic. Make a good connection. Yeah, nothing crazy there. All right. Mark, you asked what Sheila's ROI was. She said that for every $1 she spends, 3 come back. So her ROI is 3 to 1. So Sheila's method that she uses is securing her, and the one we're offering for the team to use, it has a success rate of 3 to 1 for her, 300%. So that is really impressive. So good job, Sheila. And that method that she uses of texting to make that contact, and then let's role play that. So you send the text. The text is a positive response or negative response. Where do we go from there?
So if they don't respond at all, I'll follow back up with another text. But if they do, then, it's just I let the client really dictate the conversation.
Gotcha.
So that's just my personality, is that, I connect with them and then we figure out what's right for them.
Yeah.
I will say that some of them are ones that are looking to lease. And so again, it's like, okay, you make that relationship and you help them, and then, my hope is that they'll come back when they're ready.
Mm-hmm.
But even with a lease, you can make a couple $100 off of. So depending upon where they end up landing.
Okay.
And a couple of them was like, I know I want that, but they were mobile homes. Hey, that's okay.
Yeah.
I can help them buy a mobile home.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just, like I said, it really let the client dictate.
Gotcha.
If they don't respond, then we talked about, how to go through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So she follows up with the text and then lets the conversation via text message happen organically. Lets the buyer kind of take the lead and tailors her conversation to their needs and their flow or however they're responding.
Hey, Justin.
Yeah.
So I asked Chat a little bit differently, and they said that Chat says, day 1, call them it says email, call, text within 5 to 15 minutes.
Yep.
Day 2, follow up with a phone call or a personalized message if no response.
Okay.
Day 4 to 5, share value, like a market report or new listings.
Yeah.
Week 2, touch base with any new insights, simple check-in message, and then ongoing every 1 to 2 weeks for active leads, every 3 to 60 days for long-term leads.
Okay. So kind of in line with what we've talked about a lot today. Okay. So Sheila gave another prompt to ChatGPT, and it really kind of reiterates everything that we've touched on today as far as it goes with.
Smart
we outsmarted ChatGPT once again. All right, guys, I think that's it. I'm going to beat a dead horse up here. I'm very simple. I call as quickly as possible. I try to lock in the consultation or the showing. If not, I turn them into a nurture. That means probably another 6 or 7 days of intense follow-up via phone call, text message, email. And then they go into a drip, and then I'll follow up with them maybe once a month, kind of intensely again to gauge them or to qualify them. That's the part. A couple of things I want to reiterate. Anybody on this call or anybody that watches this, if you do not have a buyer's presentation that you use, let's get together and get you set up with one, whether it's the red one, whether it's from Etsy, whether it's from Canva. We've got a lot of good options for you. So let's identify that and figure that out for those of you that need it. If anybody needs help with that personally, reach out to us. And then the other thing is Bold Trail. If you are not using it, not utilizing it, or uncomfortable with it, let's get together, because that's where these leads that you get, that's where they're going to go to get nurtured. And we can set them up on automatic drip campaigns where Bold Trail is going to do that work for you. So if you need help with that, let us know. So on the back end, your presentation and your CRM are important parts of this process as well. So let's make sure everybody has those and is comfortable and confident with them. Maybe we can make those some of the upcoming trainings in case anybody needs extra assistance with those. Thank you guys. I hope I didn't bore you. I tend to ramble. So that's my process. And you've heard experience from Gina, from Sheila, from Dana, from Mark, from other leaders that have had experience with this process as well. So find out what works for you and let us help you refine that process. That's my parting message. Thank you, guys.
Well done, sir. Thank you, Justin, very much. So let me share my screen. And I'm going to go to Chrome tab, and then I'm going to go back here. Hang in there just a second, guys. I sure hope it's here. There they are. Hang in there, guys. I'm going to share the right one with you in a second.
Did Tony call you?
Yeah.
You spoke with him?
Yeah. All right. So let me go back to this. Share that and share. Guys, you should all be able to see my screen and see this conversation. Anybody can't see it?
Raise your hand in the room.
All right, so I've got it. I'm sorry, I have to.
Sheila loves breaking her chops about that.
I know, I love it. All right, so guys, this is the buyer conversation that you're all trained on the one-on-one Zooms. It will dovetail nicely with the presentations that this leadership team is going to help you develop for buyers.
And
Right?
Mark says seller conversations on it. Is this the right one?
What is happening? Yep, okay. This won't let me scroll down on this document. Let me go back. Hang on. Hang in there. Oops, need that. Is it there? Nope. It's there. Hang on. Seller. Okay, wrong one. Thank you, Gina. You go back to Circle. Close that. This says buyer and seller conversations. Maybe I just didn't open the right one. Hang in there. Yep, I didn't. My bad. Let me get that one open. Perfect. Go back to Circle and Chrome tab and buyer conversations and share. Now go back to this and you guys can see it. This is your buyer conversation. Although it won't let me page down on it. I don't know why. So the buyer conversation, guys, starts with family, goes to consumer guide, and then them sharing their vision with us, and then 2 tracks. So the reason I'm sharing that with you is it dovetails very nicely with the buyer presentation that you're going to provide them with. And this would be a script for your meeting. It could also be a script for your initial conversation. Let's talk about that initial conversation, then we'll get you guys out of here if there aren't any other questions. First of all, statistically, 97%, this is a statistical fact. 97% of the things that you're concerned about happening on that phone call don't end up happening. Now that sounds like it's completely counterintuitive from what Sheila and everybody is sharing with you, right? That, 50% of the people don't pick up. I'm sharing with you that when we project into the conversation that we're going to have, either via text, email, or by phone, most of it doesn't end up happening. Your mind plays terrible tricks on you. So let's go back to where we started. Comfort, confidence, and curiosity. Comfort, confidence, and curiosity. We'll bring in accountability in a second. I know it's, we're used to dealing with Sphere, and this is going to be a new venture for many of you. Be as comfortable as you possibly can and confident when you make those phone calls, send those texts or emails. How do you achieve that? Because you're saying to yourself, I'm an introvert. I don't like talking to people. Well, maybe it's not something that's for you, lead generation. So you need to make that decision first. But how do you achieve comfort and confidence? By doing it repeatedly.
Yep.
By doing it repeatedly.
And take a deep breath before.
And take a deep breath and smile. Smile on the phone. We used to call it smiling and dialing at Dominion Homes. You smile and dial because that smile comes through the phone. I mean, I'm smiling now, and the way I'm intonating and emoting to you change just because I'm smiling. So comfort and confidence by repetition. Find the system that works for you. Certainly have one in place. Be thinking about this, guys, from now to November 15th. If you're going to engage in this lead generation system, prepare yourself. We're going to help you. Justin made a lot of notes on those that want a buyer consultation document or want a presentation. You want help with making those, no problem. We're going to role play a lot more, right? And you guys are going to role play with me. And you can make my life miserable if you want, because I have the answers, and so do you. So do you. With repetition, they come to you, right? So let's not project into something that which we, in all likelihood, will never experience. Build your confidence and comfort, and be curious when you're on the phone. Build your confidence and comfort, and be curious on the phone, or in your text, or in your emails. People are more likely to ask questions, or answer questions if you ask them. So ask questions. Talk about anything you want. If you can get a hold of somebody on the phone after I introduce myself and say, hey, saw you were interested in a particular area of town that you're looking to buy a house in the next 6 months. How's it going? How's your search going? What's kept you from buying so far? How's your family? How's your world? What's going on? I tend to act like I've known somebody for a lot longer than I have, because it's comfortable for me. And I also know, and you now know, people want to talk about themselves. So ask. Confident, comfortable, curious. Write that down if you have to. It's on your standards list that all you guys are going to be filling out. Comfortable, confident, curious. Have that in front of you. If that's all you have in front of you besides this buyer conversation after you introduce yourself, those 3 words will give you a tremendous amount of comfort and confidence. Be comfortable, be confident, be curious. Have fun with it. Have a method in place well before November 15th, and get ready to get on this, right? We just admitted to you that some of these take nurturing. We also want to emphasize the need for speed when it comes to this piece of your business, right? These are not Sphere people. These are folks that we are purposely curating, which means that they are at a point in their lives, purportedly, that they're in the buying market. So they're purportedly there, right? Some of that nurturing work has sort of been done through the algorithm of these ads that we're placing for you. So speedily get to a level of comfort and confidence with these folks, because they should be sort of there. But ask questions and find out. Any of that not make sense? Any feedback or input for right now? For now, it sounds like we're done talking about lead gen. Okay. Guys, we've got some unbelievable statisticians on, I think that's the right word, on our team of leaders. Sheila, Malika, Dana, Justin, Gina. They're really good at knowing when you have these inputs, you've got these outputs, these results. When Sheila says, for every dollar I spend, I get 3 back, that should give you a high level of comfort and confidence entering into this lead generation launch. Let's make it extraordinarily successful as a team. We are passionate about helping you get to the point between now and November 15th that you can take on this particular, I'll call it a challenge, right? Is there anybody that's willing to admit on this call that they are not comfortable talking to people? You've admitted to me before on our one-on-one Zooms. All
Hey,
right.
this is Henry.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable, but I'm determined to do it.
Yes. Love that. Love that. Thank you for admitting it, Henry, and thank you for having already a game plan in your head to get on it and get after it. So we've discussed the methodology of need for speed, get on the phone, get them engaged with you, get them nurtured as quickly as you can. The next step on that, guys, is you're going to want to be organized as a business owner so you can keep track of these folks. You'll all have a spreadsheet. Keep track of where they are. Keep track of where they are in your funnel. Right? You've got leads and spheres sitting up here. We all have methods in place. If we don't, let's put them in place to get people move down to the middle of that funnel so that they're closer to a transaction, which is when they come out of that funnel. Pipeline, transactions, and after closing. That's what lead gen is all about. These people immediately show up in your bold trail. Certainly you should, at some point in the very near future, as you're engaging with them, make sure you find them on your social media, become friends there. Make sense? Guys, let me give you some stats on next year. 2025 is every metrics I'm looking at, everybody I'm talking to, and these are folks that are levels outside of the folks that we engage with every day. Levels out, they are lenders and outside of lenders. They are title people and outside of title people. They're folks that are involved in the various industries associated with this thing we call real estate. You've heard me say it before, it's 34.7%, it's close to that, of our gross national product. 2025 is going to be a very good year in real estate. Let's end with this. Let's end with the comfortable, confident, conversational engagements we have with people virtually every day. When you're asked about real estate of late, you're a marketer of real estate services. You're not a realtor and you're not a real estate agent. You market real estate services. That's number one. Number two, if any part of your heart or head is saying to you that the market is slowing or that it has slowed, guys, at its base level, that's not true. What is true, in a much more positive, experienced, expert answer for somebody asking me of late, how's the market or how you doing in real estate? My answer is, man, there's 4,700 houses on the market right now. Any given month last year, there were only 2,400. There's a lot more opportunities for buyers. And sellers are starting to recognize that, hey, they need to be reasonable in their list price, because as a result of there being more choices, houses stay on the market slightly longer than they did before. That's called a market adjustment. That's not called a slowing market. Words like it's a,
That clarification.
say it again.
I like that clarification.
Sheila likes that clarification. I was on the phone with an AMP agent the other day, and they have a listing, and their client was asking them about why it was they weren't getting more traction, and that their gut response was, well, the market's slowing down. Nope. No. There are more houses on the market. Sellers are needing to be more reasonable. These are all positives, right? I mean, 2 or 3 years ago, were we not all, forgive the language, bitching about the fact that there were 1,250 houses on the market and our buyers were having to kill themselves in order to get into contract? So guys, you can't complain about that and then complain about this. That's not what a marketer of real estate services, that's not how a marketer of real estate services approaches this. This is your business. You hold it close to your heart and head. The market adjusts all the time. You want to say the market's adjusting to there being more houses and more opportunities for buyers to buy a home now? Great. But it's not a buyer's market any more than it was a seller's market two or 3 years ago. These are not, when you hear buzzwords on the internet or on the national news, let's not take that low resolution, lazy approach to our business. Let's not do that. Comfortable and confident, experienced and expert. Explain the market. Going back to 2025, it's those market conditions, it allows our market to adjust, that's going to make 2025 an outstanding year in real estate. Interest rates are down nearly they're certainly down nearly 3 percentage points, even though they've ticked up lately, nearly 3 percentage points from last November. So 11 months ago, interest rates were approaching 9%. They're now in the mid sixes. Gather that information to you. Have confidence and comfort when somebody asks you, how's the real estate market? How you doing in real estate? Turn it into a stats answer. 2025 is going to be a very good year in real estate, guys. Everybody at high levels are saying that. Have that comfort and confidence. Be curious about things so that we can coach you to your standards. I am lit up about where we are going as a team. I'll repeat myself. We nearly doubled our sales volume in 2024 as a team. You guys on this call and those that will watch this video are obviously doing an outstanding job. And if you're not where you want to be, either because you just got started with AMP or because something has gone on, family, faith, social life, and work outside of real estate that has just slowed that vision down. Okay, we're not going anywhere. We're going to help you in so many ways, you're going to have to like one of them. Anything else? Gina, Mark, Sheila, Dana? Does anybody have a story to share about a recent success? Henry? I told you I was going to do this to you, so you tell the story.
I love this.
Yes.
Tell the story, brother.
So, essentially, yeah. So, I was at work the other day, and
stop typing while you're talking.
Person, they had made some. I'm not typing. That's me moving my arm. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's just popping. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So I was at work, and he had walked past me. I had made a comment to someone. It was, I guess, a joke or something, and I had a joke that I was going to say back, which was, related to real estate. And I realized oh, I should have gave that person a business card. They had already gotten the car and left. And so I thought, oh, that's a missed opportunity right there. So I checked my wallet, make sure that I had my business cards on me. And I said, the next one I see, I'm going to introduce myself and give a business card. Person happened to be the principal of the school. And they said, well, I just bought a condo. I had to find a realtor. I didn't know anyone. I kind of wish I had, took my time with it. They liked realtor, but I guess it wasn't the best experience. So I gave my card. They promised to share it with others. And then I was telling Mark about the incident, and he told me to immediately go back and speak with the person, get their information. So I did that day, got their information. They actually did share my card with someone. The person happened to be nearby. I kept watching them smiling and listening to the conversation. After I got, spoke to the person and explained what I did, I turned to the other person and said, hey, do you own a home? And they said, no, but I really want to, and I'm looking into it. So they gave me their information as well. They actually had my business card. So I walked away with basically 2 leads. So the first person who just bought a condo also had a house that they are thinking about selling very soon. So took immediate action and stepped out of my comfort zone, and within maybe an hour conversation, Mark, I had 2 leads. So
Henry, good for you, man. That's a market. Yeah, Michelle's clapping for you in the room. That's a marketer of real estate services. It struck me when Henry shared the story with me that he had just arrived just a second too late. It's happened to all of us, where somebody had just purchased something. That is not dead in the water at all. Henry knows this person well. He now has their information. He's going to start nurturing them on Bold Trail and asking them for referrals. And he will be the agent they choose the next time the timing is right to enter into a transaction, and they've already connected with him. So well done. Michelle had something in the room.
One, what would you suggest putting on your listing if it's fallen out of contract due to financing, because you can no longer use that on the MLS? You will get a notice that you're going to be fined if you don't change it. So I put back on the market through no fault of the seller.
Perfect.
But am I able to say no inspections were done, or?
Nope. You don't need to share anything else other than the short story as back on the market through no fault of the seller.
Okay.
And then let agents who see it back on the market ask you questions, and then get your client's permission as to what they would allow you to share. All right?
The other 2 things, one, if you have a buyer, even if you think that they fully understand from their seller that they have to have their tax returns, make sure you might want to actually ask them. Do you have them? Have you given them to your lender? Also, if you have a listing, you might even want to ask the buyer agent, if you double checked that buyer declared all of their income that they're going to be using to purchase this home for the IRS.
Okay. Love it. Any other fun stories about recent successes that you have not yet shared on Circle, which is where they should all go for sure? Anybody on the call? All right, I'll share one real quick if nobody else wants to. I've been in touch with a company called Elder Life for 20 years. And in the last 3 months, I've gotten 6 leads for listings from this company. It is a matter of the nurturing and the communication and the connection that I've kept up with this company for 20 years. Guys, stay with things. Continue to communicate and nurture and grow trust. The only difference between that and leads is that you have to shrink that period of time down and be all over it, and you'll do more business. One of the curating questions is interested in a new build, right, Sheila? Guys, new builds people are crushing it in new builds right now. And we have extraordinary training on getting your clients through a new build. We've been through it twice. We go through it at least once a year where we go out to a builder, meet them at their model, have them engage with us in their marketing program, help us understand how to register clients with new builders and picking your favorite salespeople and making sure your buying clients are registered. Representing somebody on new build is a lot of fun.
One of the things that I think is interesting is clients don't necessarily think that they can have an inspection on a new build.
Right.
But it's a good thing to do, and it's another way of adding value because they didn't even think about that.
Right.
I heard a story of somebody that they put the window and they thankfully got an inspection. The HVAC unit and all that was put in was not brand new that they had paid for. It was a used one, roughly like 5 years old, based on the things they been out.
Let's definitely not end on that note. Anything else anybody wants to share? Guys, thank you so much for being here on a Saturday. I think it was great stuff, and we'll continue to drill down on stuff. We'll be here for you. Let's keep rolling. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us on Circle. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Now that I know I can get on there, I'm gonna have to see if there's a couple of youngins with some muscles to do some stuff.
Yeah.
Bye, Sheila.